This must be addressed as there's something big going on with the Sacramento Kings right now as the starting lineup, the talent that's amalgamated out there at the top end of this Kings team is in the upper echelon of the entire NBA, and the stats are showing it. But there is a serious problem that does need to be fixed. So we'll discuss that, including a significant De'Aaron Fox injury update that hasn't become an issue just yet, but hopefully will be able to be managed over the course of the season. So we'll break all of that down in this video. But folks, again, we have a goal of 1,000 subscribers here, and we appreciate all the support we've been getting out here on the Kings Digest channel, the community we're building up. But if you guys want to stay up to date with everything regarding this team, and you're part of the 84% of our viewers that haven't hit the subscribe button just yet, make sure you guys hit that sub button so you stay up to date with everything that's going on with this Kings team, as it's a fun time of year. The Kings, a little bit of a weird start, especially with preseason, the first couple of games, but things are in the up and up in Sacramento, so we'll break down all the latest news. But let's dive in the first topic of discussion. The first thing we're taking a look at is a major De'Aaron Fox injury update. Now, obviously, De'Aaron Fox, he started off this season, he's played the games and stuff, and has looked solid out there, but there actually has been a sneaky injury that's been going on to De'Aaron Fox, which he kind of addressed over the past couple days. Essentially, he came out and revealed that unless we get a month off at some point during the season, it's going to be here to stay. Essentially, he's dealing with a finger injury right now, and again, it's a finger. You might look at that and be like, oh, what does that have to do with anything, right? It's a minor injury, just tough it up and stuff. But as the basketball player, as the guy, that anyone's played basketball, right? Like if your fingers are off, if there's something weird going on, that can have a serious effect on your jump shot and your ability to play, dribble, all those types of things. Now, obviously, De'Aaron Fox has been fine. He has looked good to start off the season. A couple of up and down games here and there, but again, the stats show still 22 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 8 assists for De'Aaron Fox. The three-point shot is at 29%, 20% on corner threes. So again, that's a very, very small sample size. The middies have been going in at a decent rate. So again, not something to be crazy concerned about right now, but if, the jump shot of the three-point percentage doesn't end up fixing itself over the next, coming weeks, the next month or so, then maybe this finger injury could be causing more of an issue than people are really giving it credit for. So again, something I'm not crazy worried about right now. The Kings have had some bad luck with injuries to start off the season, especially to the depth pieces, but, something to keep an eye on, especially if the stats don't continue to iron themselves out, right? We do have an injury update as well for tonight's game against the Atlanta Hawks, as Devin Carter, Orlando Robinson, Mason Jones, and Isaiah Crawford are all out of tonight's game. Of course, not available, but, there's a lot of injuries on the side of the Atlanta Hawks tonight. Bogdanovich, DeAndre Hunter, Dyson Daniels, who's had almost a breakout season for the team, and Kobe Buffkin out, and so basically, a lot of guys out for the Hawks. The Kings have another test in terms of their ability to beat down on bad teams, right? This is going to be the difference in the Kings this season versus last year, right? The ability to be back atop the Western Conference, and should be a fun game, should be a fun return to action. But we'll see how everything plays out in regards to the injury situation. But we have something that needs to be addressed. We have one thing that I really want to sort of dive into and break down out here on this video, because again, there's been a lot of criticism thrown the way of Monte McNair about different things, about some different moves, cutting Boogie Yellows, different things that are happening on this team. Everyone loves to get fired up about Mike Brown and Monte McNair, the GM, the head coach, the decision makers out there on this team. Once things aren't going perfectly, once things aren't going smooth, and even when they are going good, when they've made mistakes on different things that have happened. So what's going on, right? Because I've been a big proponent in saying the Kings had a really good offseason. They improved their talent level, their starting lineup, the top set of this roster, which is the hardest part to build, right? That's looking really, really nice here now at this point. And basically, the issues that I have on this team, are a bit of shooting and definitely some depth, especially in the front court. And essentially, the statistics are out there, kind of prove this theory, prove this sort of assessment right. As we can take a look at it here now. Essentially, the Sacramento Kings starting lineup has the best net rating, has an absolutely awesome defensive rating, awesome offensive rating. So the best net rating out there in the entire NBA in regards to starting lineups across the league. Any lineups, actually, in particular, that have played over 50 minutes. So basically, in Sacramento Kings, the lineup of De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Huerter, as well as Keegan Murray, has been extremely, extremely effective. Now, this could also be something that fans Kevin Huerter will say, hey, we can't have Keon Ellis out there in the starting lineup, and that's fair, right? Because the starting lineup is performing at an extremely, extremely high level right now. But what this kind of gives an indication of, because you might say, oh, the Kings have had a bad schedule. This includes the games against the Los Angeles Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. So let's get that straight here right now, right? They've had some good teams, some bad teams. Every team's going to be playing, an up and down sort of space of competitiveness. And the Kings have by far the best net rating. Like, it's a significant margin in terms of how much better it is here now at this point. So again, that's one thing to sort of discuss. But basically, with this top-heavy roster, with this sort of really talented upside, the Kings just need to make one or two moves to build and bolster up that bench unit to really set things apart, to really just say, hey, this is a bona fide contender out there in the Western Conference, out there in the entire NBA, a team that can come out and compete with, your Oklahoma City Thunders, your Boston Celtics, because the top-level talent, the upper echelon guys on this team, it is definitely there. And the stats are kind of proving it, right? But again, if you're Monte McNair, right, and you kind of look at this team and you look at who they have coming off the bench, who they have in the roster, obviously Keon Ellis has been a diamond in the rough, a nice sort of guy that's developed in this King system that should be out there in the mix. Obviously, Malik Monk is one of the best six men in the entire NBA, but Trey Lyles hasn't had the greatest sort of start off to this season. He's only averaging 3 points a game, but recovering from injury, so that's solid, but he's a solid, eighth guy out there on your team. I think he could be a rotation player on a, championship contending squad, but obviously it's that 5 position. It's that sort of extra big man spot that can play defense, that can be effective out there on the basketball court. And Alex Len, again, solid passer, does his thing out there, does the best he can, is definitely a really good insurance big man, but just one more big out there in that lineup to take advantage of what's going on right now in Sacramento, because again, the big reports are Zach LaVine, Brandon Ingram, all these types of guys, but our starting lineup out here in Sacramento is already really, really good. Like, the top echelon, the star power on this team is already there. There's no need to make a crazy blockbuster move for another superstar player, or at least big name player, marginal star player, right? When the thing that needs to be done is a really just smart, effective move around the edges that builds and bolsters this team's depth, this team's bench, especially if, because every team is going to be dealing with injuries over the course of a season, right? A team, sort of just acquisition that can really bolster what this team has in terms of being able to keep this ship going. Because, again, a couple tough losses to some top-tier teams out there in the Western Conference. We'll see if the Lakers end up keeping up at that level. But, they were playing really good to start off this season. But if Sacramento can find, just one of those, two-way players to come out there and play a front court spot, take some load off of Sabonis, take some load off of Keegan Murray out there, who's played a lot of forward now this season. I mean, that's going to be game-changing for this roster, and it's just something that Monte McNair should really address over the coming weeks, whether it's a minor trade, a sneaky good free agent acquisition, just internal development. Find someone that makes sense. So we'll see how all that stuff shakes out, but the Kings are in a very good spot right now. I wanted to kind of highlight that statistic. But folks, let me know what you guys think about the Sacramento Kings team here now at this point, how things are looking, how things are constructed in the comment section down below. You guys are best to make this far. Subscribe to the channel. I'm signing out.